CBC sparks controversy after Poilievre exposes Carney using his own words. Room left silent. Mark Carney's early days as Prime Minister were meant to usher in a new era of liberal leadership, measured, competent, and technocratic. But that image quickly hit turbulence during a tense CBC broadcast where Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre launched a surprise attack. Armed not with slogans, but with Carney's own past statements, Poilievre challenged him directly on national television, quoting the Prime Minister's own words from previous economic commentary. The result was stunning. The studio fell into a moment of complete silence as Carney struggled to respond. It was a flashpoint that shocked the audience and sparked a national debate. The controversy exploded not because Carney stumbled on policy, but because he seemed caught between his former life as a central banker and his new role as a political leader. Poilievre's move was sharp and strategic. He didn't accuse Carney of corruption or conspiracy. He simply showed that the Prime Minister's previous statements contradicted his current talking points. Carney, known for calm and calculated responses, hesitated. For a brief moment, the country saw a man stuck in transition, no longer just a financial expert, not yet a commanding political voice. That hesitation became the story. Clips of the moment flooded social media within minutes. People weren't just reacting to the exchange, they were reacting to the silence that followed. It wasn't loud, but it was powerful. Viewers described it as awkward, surreal, even painful. A leader known for having all the answers was suddenly searching for one on live television. It wasn't a gaffe, but something more human, an unexpected moment of vulnerability under pressure. Yet for many Canadians, it raised concerns about whether Carney was prepared for the cutthroat demands of political leadership. Supporters of Carney rushed to his defense, arguing that he was attempting to bring nuance to a complex issue. Economic policy, after all, is rarely black and white. His backers say he was reflecting, not dodging. That silence, in this case, was the mark of thoughtfulness. In their view, Poilievre's approach was overly theatrical, designed to manufacture a moment rather than illuminate substance. But the broader public reaction showed that, fair or not, optics in politics often matter as much as substance. And silence in a moment of pressure reads, to many, as weakness. For Poilievre, the moment was a masterstroke. He has built his political brand on calling out perceived elitism and double standards. By using Carney's own words to undermine him, Poilievre didn't just land a policy punch, he questioned the Prime Minister's authenticity. That's a powerful narrative in a time when Canadians are increasingly skeptical of authority. Poilievre framed it not as a gotcha, but as an example of how polished political leaders say one thing to experts and another to voters. Whether intentional or not, that single exchange may have shifted the balance of public perception. This wasn't just a debate over inflation metrics or central bank commentary. It became a moment that exposed deeper questions about leadership, character, and communication style. Carney's reserved analytical tone, so effective in his roles at the Bank of Canada and Bank of England, came across to some as cold and disconnected. Poilievre, on the other hand, used emotion, clarity, and sharp delivery to frame the issue in moral terms. Who do you trust, the polished expert or the straight-talking challenger? Critics of Poilievre say he is simplifying complex issues, using soundbites to exploit economic frustration without offering real solutions. But even some of Carney's allies concede that he needs to sharpen his political instincts. Canadians want to understand not just what their leader believes, but how clearly and confidently he can communicate those beliefs under pressure. Carney's policies may be coherent, but his delivery in that moment didn't match the seriousness of his office. The silence lingered, and with it, questions about whether he truly connects with everyday Canadians. Behind the television moment lies a broader reality. Canadians are struggling with the rising cost of living, housing shortages, and economic anxiety. They're not looking for lectures or academic reasoning. They want leadership that feels human, grounded, and responsive. Poilievre understood that. His performance on CBC didn't just expose a contradiction in Carney's words. It showed how political momentum can be built on tone, not just content. It was a lesson in how public figures are judged not only by what they say, but how they say it, especially in moments of confrontation. Carney has since downplayed the incident, insisting that his record speaks louder than a few seconds of televised tension. His government has begun rolling out its economic plan, focused on housing affordability, clean energy, and stabilizing inflation. Yet the shadow of that CBC exchange continues to follow him. Even within liberal circles, there's talk of recalibrating his communication strategy. Some MPs have reportedly encouraged him to embrace a more direct and relatable tone, warning that political capital can vanish quickly when a leader appears aloof. The controversy has also put CBC under scrutiny. Viewers have debated whether the network handled the exchange fairly, or if their format allowed too much room for performance over policy. Some accuse the moderators of being too passive, letting the spectacle unfold without real follow-up. Others praise the format for allowing Canadians to see their leaders under real pressure, unscripted and exposed. In either case, the moment has reignited questions about media responsibility in the political arena. Are they facilitating real discourse, or just packaging viral moments? For voters, the moment was clarifying. It showed who the key players are, how they perform when tested, and what kind of leadership they represent. Carney embodies a global, institutional style rooted in expertise and process. Poilievre channels energy from the grassroots, speaking with clarity, even if sometimes overly simplistic. This CBC moment forced Canadians to ask themselves what kind of leadership they want in uncertain times, calculated precision or emotional conviction. Neither approach is perfect, but the contrast couldn't have been sharper. What happens next will determine whether that silence becomes a mere footnote or a defining moment. Carney will need to show he can do more than manage systems. He'll need to connect with people. That means more direct engagement, clearer messaging, and demonstrating that his expertise doesn't make him distant. For Poilievre, the challenge is to build on his momentum without over-relying on gotcha moments. The exchange may have left the room silent, but it has amplified the volume of the political conversation across the country. And in that noise, voters are beginning to decide who they trust to lead.